Hey guys, what's up? It's AppleCritics from AppleCritics.com. In this video, I'm going to be showing you tvOS 14 Beta 1 and just giving you a run through of all the new features and what you should expect once you get your hands on tvOS 14. So I'm super excited for this video, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So tvOS 14 was announced by Apple at WWDC 2020 and was home to a host of new features. Now, the final version of the tvOS 14 comes out in fall of 2020, but there is some beta versions that are available for developers only. So if you are a developer, just go ahead and click on the link above, and there'll also be a link down below on my tutorial on how to install it. So there's just a bevy of new features, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you a closer look. So to start off, what we can do is actually go on into settings, and then we can go into system, and then we can go into software updates, and then we can take a look at what software is currently running. So if we do zoom in, you can see we're on tvOS 14, and the build number there is 18J5313T. So that is the build number. So when you first go into tvOS 14, you're probably going to think, oh, it looks the same. Well, it pretty much does, because there wasn't really any new UI changes. If you really want to take a look at the granular details, you can see it's a little rounded right at the bottom. So that is just a slight difference in the overall design. So it pretty much does look the same, but it's just slightly different. Now, tvOS 14 was specifically made for the 4th and 5th generation of the Apple TV. So the 4th generation of the Apple TV is called the Apple TV HD, and the 5th generation is called the Apple TV 4K. So that's specifically what tvOS 14 was made for. Some of the features include the 4K HDR Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos theater-like experience in your living room. So you can see that Apple is really focusing on honing in on the 5th generation Apple TV and just giving that whole 4K experience. So that's really good. Now, another feature is that the Apple Music UI completely changed. So if we go into it, so you can see it looks a lot like Apple Music on iOS 14 and on iPadOS 14. It's really nice and it is refined, and it has a really new design. So it goes along with the iPad and the iOS. So it makes sense that the Apple TV also got updated. So what we can do is just go ahead and play a song. And now this is what it looks like in a playlist. So you can see it looks really, really good. So let's say, for example, we play this song. And then you're going to see that we have the album artwork right there. And we do have the lyrics that we'll play in a second. So you can see this is the full immersive experience. This is exactly like the iPadOS 14 Apple Music. So it's good to see that Apple is just keeping it a uniform design. And you can see you have your entire music collection on your Apple Music app in the Apple TV, and you just have a chance to look at everything. So it looks really good overall. And I'm excited that Apple changed the Apple Music layout for the Apple TV. So now we can take a look at the other part of the Apple Music app. So we do have the browse. So you can just browse through all the recommended songs to listen to. And then we can take a look at the video section. So this is for all the music videos that we can take a look at. And then we have the radio section as well. And then you can see we have the radio and then the library of all the songs that we added to our iCloud music library. Going into the Apple Arcade, Apple added a bunch of new games and more improvements to it. So with the Apple Arcade, what you can see now is that you have a full selection of Apple Arcade games, and now you have the ability to save the Apple Arcade game when you leave it, and then you can go on to another user since there's now multi-user support. So that's really good, and just the ability to make Apple actually have like a gaming console is good with Apple TV as well. So essentially with Apple Arcade, you can resume where you left off, so you have the save in-game state. Now, a new feature with the Apple TV and tvOS 14 is that we can hold on this button right here, and when we hold on it, you're going to see that we have a control center on the right side. So you can see that we're going to see our user profile. We can sleep all connected devices. We can listen to our now playing song, and then we can AirPlay to the Apple TV. And there's also a search button. So that was a new feature that they made a point of in the WWDC keynote about tvOS 14. Now, Apple added support for the Xbox Elite 2 controller and the Xbox Adaptive Controller as well. So they made it a point to make sure that the Xbox would have some accessibility in the tvOS 14. And that is good that they are actually expanding their gaming consoles that can be connected to the Apple TV, therefore making the Apple TV the powerhouse device that you want to have in your living room. Now, Apple will add the fitness feature very soon. Now, there isn't the fitness feature in the Apple TV just yet, but they did showcase that you could work out with your Apple TV and everything like that. So it definitely is on the way, and I'm super excited for when Apple will put it in. And it just gives your Apple TV, once again, more usability, and that's good to see. Now, Apple is also going to be adding picture-in-picture across all of the Apple TV. Now, currently, I wasn't able to access it in this first beta, and I'm super excited for it because picture-in-picture on the Apple TV is a feature that you would think has been there for a long time, but Apple has not put it in. Now, Airplay can also be in picture-in-picture throughout the Apple TV. So you have a video playing, and then you can go into, let's say, for example, the podcast app, and then you can just still have the video playing in the background. Now, going into the podcast app, you can see that the podcasts have also been redesigned, and you see that it's just a nice new UI. Now, going into the podcast app, I can always get into a good podcast. So that is why I like the new UI, and it's just good that Apple has continued to update the UI for the Apple TV. Now, you also have the top charts, and then you can see all the podcasts that are in the top charts, and then you have the search, and then you have the now playing as well. Now, we can hold on that same button to access the control center. And then you're going to see that we have the control center at the side, which is once again convenient. And we do have the time, and we can switch users. So we have that multi-user access, especially for the Apple Arcade. So when we have the Apple Arcade, we can just save our in-game state and then let someone else use the remote. So this is especially perfect if you have a family of gamers and just a family that just uses the Apple TV for their own purpose. Then you can have that multi-user support and then just switch from one to another. So that's why I really like it. Now, Airplay can be picture-in-picture throughout the Apple TV once again, but now 4K video can now be Airplay to the Apple TV. So finally, we have that 4K video. So now all the 4K video from all of our iPhones and Apple devices can now be Airplayed to the Apple TV. This is finally makes sense, and this should have been here a long time ago. Now, I wish Apple added a web browser, just like some other Samsung Smart TVs. That would be nice to have a web browser on all the TVs, just like a Safari web browser, but hopefully that feature would come soon. Now, Apple announced one new original TV show for the original content, so there wasn't much on the Apple TV Plus front. Now, the Home app for the Apple TV will be adding HomeKit integration, so that will let you control smart home products such as security cameras and lights and doorbells and everything like that. So that'll be good that we finally get the HomeKit integration, but currently it is not on my Apple TV as I don't see the app anywhere. But even with the HomeKit integration, you can just go into the control center, and then it will actually show you that security video when someone is at the door right on that side. So that will be really, really interesting, and I'm glad that Apple is implementing this feature. Now, the Home app view will have the HomeKit secure video footage on the TV, either full screen or in just the small control center view. So that is just very convenient, and I really like that feature. tvOS 14 also got this new feature of some upgraded 4K wallpaper. So this wallpaper looks much better than just the aerial view of different cities. This one is just super high quality, and I can imagine on a much bigger TV that it would look even more realistic. So it's just good to see Apple updated their wallpapers, and there's just a variety of screensavers that the Apple TV has now. So this is just a variety of Ultra HD 4K wallpapers that Apple implemented within tvOS 14. Now, Apple also did update Siri, so what we can do is just simply access Siri by hitting this button on the remote. What's the weather forecast for Paris? And now you can see Siri will just give you that notification right there. So it says it's currently 26 degrees in Paris. So you can just simply swipe up. And now we can see we have that full weather forecast for Paris. So that's really good as well. So you can see how immersive this experience is. And Siri got a lot better in tvOS 14 as well. So tvOS is just home to just a lot of great features. So it has an easy to navigate television watching experience, has that full app store. tvOS supports downloading a range of different apps and games that can be used on the Apple TV. And the interface design puts the content front and center. So you can get the Siri commands, which I just showed. You have the Apple Remote or the Remote app on the iPhone and the Apple Watch. Now, tvOS does have several built-in apps like Photos, which can access your photo library, your Apple Music, your podcast, and Apple TV. And it has the ability to aggregate all those TV and movie content from tons of sources, including the Apple TV Plus streaming service. So channels are also included on the Apple TV app. So it just definitely depends on your location. So the new feature now is audio sharing. So the support lets you have 2 sets of AirPods to be connected to the Apple TV so that 2 people can listen without disturbing others in the room. And it does have the new spatial audio feature for the AirPods Pro that will work with the TV. So you get the surround sound-like experience when you're wearing your AirPods Pro. And the tvOS 14 lets you watch YouTube videos in 4K as well. So we finally get 4K YouTube videos on tvOS. One of the interesting perks about Siri is that you can watch a TV show or movie, and when you're watching it, you can just say, "What did he just say?" Or a similar command, and you can rewind 15 seconds, and it temporarily turns on captions for those 15 seconds. So that's a genius feature, and I can't show that content, obviously, due to copyright restrictions, but this is the coolest feature of tvOS 14 that I saw. And you can also say some other things like fast forward 5 minutes or play from the beginning. And that's really good. And just there's going to be a lot of HomeKit integration, and there will be the fitness app on the Apple TV. So once again, you can work out on your Apple TV. So there's just a bunch of great features on tvOS 14. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. So Apple is going to be bringing a lot of new features to tvOS 14. And when you couple in HomePod integration, so you know when your doorbell rings, it will say on your TV. You have that security video on your Apple TV as well. So you can do a lot with Apple TV, and this is just getting to where it should be. And also with the 4K videos and the Airplay from your iPhone of 4K video and that picture-in-picture, Apple TV will be the real deal when it comes fall 2020 with the full and final version. Hopefully you thoroughly enjoyed this video on tvOS 14. If you did, be sure to comment down below what you think of tvOS 14, if you're excited, if you will be upgrading, or if you will be buying an Apple TV just to get tvOS 14 due to all the major features that Apple updated. Also be sure to check out all the videos on my channel. Be sure to check out applecritics.com for your Apple News, more. Be sure to check out the video on how to install tvOS 14 if you would like to get it. So tvOS 14 Beta 1, developer's version. You can go ahead and install it if you watch my video. And the first public beta will be coming out in early July. So I will also be reviewing that on my channel. Also be sure to follow me on all the social media platforms of Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. My username there is AppleCritics. And be sure to subscribe for more great content. And thanks for watching.